Redditors who actually managed to get Tinder dates. What was your worst experiences? We went on 3 dates. The next time she asked to see me, I told her I was visiting family and wouldn't be available until the following weekend. In that moment, she freaked out and sent me a 7-page long text about how I destroyed what could have been a perfect relationship and that she still wanted to marry me if I would just put her first. She then left me a voicemail of her singing "You Got It Bad" by Usher while crying and saying she loved me over and over. 2 days later, she sent me pictures of her burning a bucket list she had made for us. Glad I got out of that one unscathed. Story 2. Perfectly nice date. 20 minutes into it, she says, "I'll be honest, I know what I need in a man and you don't have it." At 25, I would have been crushed, wondering what it was would have kept me up for days. Being 35, I thanked her for being blunt and was happy to have an unexpectedly free evening. Story 3. So I found a cool chick. She was into cars, into guns, drank and cussed like a sailor. She had this sexy resting bitch face. I was so ready to smash. Well, she hits me up and says she's going to a car meet and was gonna pick me up. I was so down for that. So she texts me saying, "Hey, I'm outside." So I run out and I see her in her car, walk up and say what's up, and that's when it hit me. This has the angles. Good f***ing god, she had saddlebags hanging over the seat of her car. This was enormous. So I played it cool. I asked her, "Hey, want anything to drink before we head out?" She says, "Sure." So I run in and grab my roommate and say, "Bro, I messed up. I messed up bad. I need a call like a level 10. Mom had a heart attack. Dad had a stroke. Your brother's in jail again, but for murder this time. And it was your job to keep him out." He laughs his butt off. So I go back out to the car, go to the car wash, and I got the call and I put him on speaker. "Bro, my brother's in jail again. My mom is gonna kill me. My dad is never gonna talk to me again. And my brother's in jail for first-degree murder." I play along like, "Oh, alright man, we need to get there and get a bail bond." This is where it gets good. "No man, it's cool." He's sobbing. "I'm just gonna hit the bottle and pull the trigger." She heard that, we jump in the car, I'm doing my best to act panicked, and we get to the house. And we both run in. There's my roommate, empty bottle of Jack on the ground and a half-full bottle of Jameson tilted up and pressed to his lips, and an unloaded handgun to his head, screaming, "If you take one more step, I'm gonna blow my brains out." And she f***ing bolted out the door and took off. Always have a bro for an SOS or a level 10 emergency. Story 4. Right, so I was in Shanghai for work and decided to see what was happening on Tinder. I had to use a VPN to get around the Great Firewall. Anyway, matched with a girl and chatted briefly. She asked if I wanted to meet at her hotel for a drink. Alarm bells should have been ringing woolly. So I shower up, pop a breath mint, and smash out a Lucky Panda spirit whilst flagging down a cab. I get to her hotel and to my astonishment, she is the woman in the profile, waiting for me at the hotel bar. I have a few cocktails and things are going well. She is friendly, seems really into me. Then she asked if I wanted to go up to her room for some more drinks. Dear diary, jackpot. So we make our way upstairs and she doesn't waste any time and jumps straight in. When all was said and done, I thought, right, time to do the Shanghai shuffle. So I'm putting my clothes on and about to leave and she says, "What about my money, baby?" My heart sinks quicker than a mob snitch swimming in concrete boots. I ask her what she means. She says, "No free sex, 3,000 RMB. She replies, which is just shy of $500. Me, I just rooted a So a heated argument begins and I'm planning my escape, hoping there's not a waiting outside. She starts screaming at me and hotel security arrive on the scene and hustle me down to the lobby. She follows in tow demanding her money, screaming, yelling, making a scene. I've really hit rock bottom here. Then I see someone get out of a cab outside the hotel entrance. I gap it and leap into the cab, telling the driver to drive in the worst Chinese possible. I probably said something offensive. But the power of the almighty yuan saves the day and he speeds off, taking me back to my hotel where I can hit a bottle of scotch and reflect on what the actual F just happened. Too long didn't read, I shoplifted in Shanghai. Story 5. My story. I used it. I'm a fat, ugly bastard. I matched with a girl who wasn't too shabby looking, texted for a few days until we were both off. I picked her up, she was very cute, went to dinner at a Japanese steakhouse and had a good time, drank some sake. She suggested we go back to my place. Woo! We stopped by her apartment to get our car and she wants to get clothes. She follows me to my house and out of my driveway for a few and start to move towards the house. I'm excited, gonna get laid and all. Yes sir, been a while. So we're on my front porch and she goes, "Ew, what's that?" and points to this baseball-sized toad that hangs out on my porch. This is his second year it was there. Anyways, I explain he's cool and I knock beetles off my porch light for it to eat and stuff. She walks over to him, looks at me like intense eye contact, and proceeded to slowly stomp on my toad. Now at this point, I was experiencing several emotions. Shock, anger, rage. I shouted at her, "What the f***? Why did you do that?" To which she replied, "I wanted to make you mad so you'd f*** me hard." I was speechless while I processed what I'd just witnessed. I told her to get the F out of my property. She flips out, we yell back and forth. I sprayed her with the hose and she finally leaves, only to show up 20 minutes later, removed clothes on my deck in the backyard. She had walked from down the road and pulled like 6 pickets down from my fence to get in the backyard. Cops came, she cried her way out of trouble with them and left. Story 6. I met a girl for a date who turned out to be much better looking than her photos, which is always a nice surprise. The date went well, just dinner and a walk, and we said our goodbyes. The next day she invited me out to a friend's birthday party downtown as our +1. I wanted to go, but I had to work the next day and wanted to be able to drink a little since it was a bunch of people I did not know. She said, "That's alright, you can park at my house and sleep over." Cha-ching. So, of course, I said yes. Fast forward to the middle of the party, I'm enjoying myself chatting it up with her friends and having a good time, and next thing I know, she absolutely loses it and storms out of the bar, leaving me there. Drunk, with her friends, I still have no idea why. One of them told me she wants you to go after her, and I said, "F that, it's our second date," which not a single person blamed me for. I stayed at the party and switched to water while I continued talking with her friends. That was over a year ago, and I still regularly hang out with them. They have since stopped talking to her. Story 7. Oh god, I've had several awkward Tinder dates. The worst was this guy who was 23 and had pretty much grown up on the computer. I usually don't mind guys having a gaming hobby. Any hobby is great as it shows you have a passion for something. But it should be a hobby, it shouldn't rule your life. Anyway, I offered to meet him at the university we both attended to grab a coffee. But he insisted on going to the local shopping complex despite the fact that he didn't drive. No idea how he got there. He ended up being around 30 minutes late. Okay, I can deal with that. When we finally meet, he's so nervous he's shaking like a chihuahua and barely able to speak. I get it, first dates can be nerve-wracking. We sit down to sushi and there's absolute dead silence. I start asking him questions to start the conversation, but all I get is 2-word replies. Right. This is getting a bit more frustrating. I even ask him questions about what games he likes. I do know a bit about games, but all I get is condescending answers. I'm starting to feel more like an interrogator than a date. Suddenly he perks up and goes, "Oh, I have to go. There's a LAN party on." "Okay, mate. You're not feeling comfortable on this date, that's fine. Even though you suggested it and you were so confident online. So we part ways." The kicker comes about 4:30 a.m. the next morning. I'm working an overnight shift at Macca's and this group of guys come in. Chihuahua boy is in the group, being a whole lot more confident. I get it, it's easier being social with friends. They walk in talking about bitches and how fake gamer bitches ruined their LAN party. I wish I was making this up. He goes to order and doesn't realize it's me. They leave a huge mess behind. I'm talking purposely smearing ice cream on the table and chairs plus more because it's the employee's job to clean up. The next afternoon, I get a message from him asking if I'd like to meet up with him again. I politely said no. He called me a fat bitch. Never saw him again. Story 8. Met one charmer after talking for a few weeks. After agreeing to meet at a nearby coffee shop, I show up right on time. 10 minutes later, I get a text from him to come outside. Seems sketchy, but there's people about, so why not? I stand directly in front and he appears out of nowhere in a hoodie. We walk a bit before he asks me to walk down a darkly lit street. I say I'm uncomfortable and he immediately starts walking away. I assume he's joking and call him only to hear him screaming at me at the other end. He sends me a text a couple of days later insulting my hair and telling me to... Story 9. Only ever went out with one guy I met on Tinder. He was a very popular hipstery rich kid that didn't want to be rich, and I'm a borderline hood rat Latina that grew up in a rough neighborhood. I didn't think we would hit it off, but gave it a shot because he looked like Robert Downey Jr. with lots of tattoos. We ended up having a ton of similar interests, and one date became two became three, and 1 month turned into 3 months. Eventually, we broke up because he decided to take a job playing his guitar that would let him travel the world. Cue 6 months of weird but sweet and sappy love letters, texts, and calls from different locations all over the world. We both ended up moving on with other people, but we still randomly like each other's photos on Instagram and talk very occasionally. It was the most random but interesting and only Tinder experience ever. Story 10. So last year, after getting out of a horrible sort of relationship, I decided to try something casual and use Tinder. Got lots of responses, everything is going well. The dates were mostly lackluster and I figured I was just being too picky. So I decided the next 5 people to ask me on a date gets a yes. Bad move. So the first guy I'm able to go on a date with wants me to drive into the city 45 minutes away so we would have more stuff to do. Annoying but sorta understandable as I'm in a suburb without much exciting things to do. We meet, he looks like his pictures, we say hello, and he tells me that we're gonna go play soccer in the park. Cool, I love sports. On the way, we start talking and asking questions about each other, and I'm getting the vibe we aren't such a great match. I love to travel, he has zero desire. He only likes obscure sports, I love them all. But hey, I'm here, stick with it. The entire time he talks about how he makes so much money and how embarrassing it is for his friend to make only $60K a year at his dream job. I make half of that. I would have left considering the love connection or lack thereof, but I figured I'd be polite until after lunch. We head out and we arrive. Dollar Taco. Which, don't get me wrong, you don't have to splurge. But he looked me up and down and said, you gotta earn your meals first, and gave me a creepy smile. I fake a phone call and have to leave, but he insists on walking me to my car. We get there, and I try to shrug him off and get out of there, but then it happens. He leans in for a kiss, but not just any kiss. Open mouth, tongue out, and as he leans in, his crotch brushes against my leg. Unfortunately for him, the soccer shorts didn't conceal his. So I did what any caught off guard girl would do. I accidentally laughed in his mouth. Oops, I was too awkward to say anything and just got in the car, driving away. Story 11. Recently met this guy on Tinder and been on 3 dates with him. First date went really well until his car got towed. Second date went to his place, got drunk and ended up with him inside, proceed to freak the f out and had to go to the ER. Third date, he got me high for the first time, got way too high, freak out again and start pinching his nipple really hard and speaking Thai. He added me on Facebook after that. Story 12. I meet a girl on Tinder. I think I won her over with my jokes about loving dirty socks and old Greg. We talk for a while and finally decide to go to a lake. We both love nature. We go, meet, hug, and sit down on a blanket by the lake. We talk for a bit. After about 10 minutes, I hear a splat. She looks down and laughs. I look down at her leg. There, sitting there on her right leg, is a big, white, pebbly bird crap. I ask, did a bird just crap on your leg? She says yes and laughs again. Before the date, we promised no bullcrap, we must be ourselves. I don't think before I catch myself wiping the bird crap off her leg with my hand. I go to the lake, wash my hand off and go sit back down. We have a little laugh, talk for another couple of hours and decide to call it a night. We go back to our cars and I go to give her the goodbye. I wasn't sure if I should give her a hug or kiss at this point. I didn't want to be invasive. As I'm hugging her and thinking about the kiss, I start to regret the decision to wear athletic shorts. I think I have 2 options. Turn around after the hug and walk back to my car. Try to conspicuously tuck the to my waistline of my athletic shorts and go for the kiss. I'll go for option 3. I'm getting I can't keep hugging you. We laugh, I hug her again and say, I'll talk to you soon. We promise we'd be honest, but on my way back to the car, I just keep thinking, crap, too honest, too honest. I turn on my car and wait to see if she's gonna leave first. Then she gets out of her car and walks towards me with something in her hands. I roll down my window. You forgot the banana bread I made you. I couldn't believe I made her come back to the awkwardness to make her give me the banana bread she made for me. I take it from her, we both still laugh a bit about the thing, and I put the banana bread on my passenger seat. Then, and this is the part I still can't believe, she leans in. We kiss, a gentle, small, but amazing kiss. She walks back to her car and drives away. I do a couple fist pumps and then drive home. On my way home, I start to question what just happened. So much about myself to doubt, but so much greatness to it. What just happened? I'm driving home and Bohemian Rhapsody comes on. I have a Wayne's World moment. I will not let you go. Fast forward 3 months, we're still talking. I saw her tonight. We went to a creek again. We've gotten poison ivy from each other, been camping, shared great music. It has all been so great. I don't ever want to leave her. When we look back, she says I won her over when I wiped the bird crap off her leg. Needless to say, that bird was my wingman. Story 13. First date is going well. She's way out of my league and seems very much into me. Later, we're back at my place after dinner and making the couch a little. We head into the bedroom, and just as I'm about to do something, she says, wait, what? You should know I have STDs. Very funny. No, I really do, and I'm in the middle of an outbreak. You're joking. I'm not. Do you need a minute? Being fairly STDs naive, I reply, yep. I go out to my porch and sit down on a chair. After a minute, I can hear her crying in my bedroom. She dresses and comes out. She asks me if I need time to think. I tell her what to do. We talk a little about other things. I drive her home and then spend the weekend completely torn up, weighing my options. Is she worth getting STDs over? You've only known her for 6 hours. Ultimately, I go out with her a few more times and it turns out not only does she have STDs, she's also bat crap crazy. I dump her, she tries to do something to herself, another hilarious story in and of itself, and I test negative for STDs. Back to the drawing board. Story 14. Matched with this guy, we talked for a little bit and we didn't really seem to have anything in common, so I didn't plan on going out with him. When I finally did decline, he threw a fit and pestered me, promising a lovely night out and to just give him a chance. That should have been my first clue. Now, at this point in my life, I was admittedly very picky about guys I go out with, and this guy, as well as my roommates, encouraged me to just go because maybe I'm missing out on nice people. Fine. We go to sushi, no attraction, nothing in common, horrible conversation. Every time I tried to lead with a subject, he ended it. What's your favorite restaurant? I don't know. Did you play any sports? No. The conversation was a dead end at every turn. Had a terrible time, good sushi though. I insisted I pay half the bill and we walked out. Then he grabbed me by the arm aggressively, insisting me go to Starbucks for coffee. I said no thank you, I just ate, I'm very full, I have a test tomorrow, whatever. But he literally overpowered me and pulled me in and sat us down at a table. Now I was freaked out. We sat awkwardly, silently. I asked, are you getting a coffee or... He smiled and said, no, I don't want any. I said, okay, so why are we here? And he slipped his hand between my thighs and credit carded me under the table. I was mortified and moved away. I said, I'm gonna go home now. I thank God I drove separately. As I got to my car, he asked, so when can we go out again? I almost laughed at him, but I was polite because I'm a huge coward. I said, well, you're very nice, but we don't have much in common and I didn't really feel the chemistry. But thanks for showing me a new sushi restaurant. And he started screaming. You're just the same as all women. I thought you were different, you dumb piece of... I got in my car and left. When I got home, I got many texts from him and his roommate. From date guy, I got a lot of and from the roommate, I got a few angry/concerned ones like, my roommate came home really upset and pissed. What did you do to him? You're a... I literally had no idea people could be like that. It really soured my Tinder experience, but I had fun laughing at the texts with my own roommates. Story 15. My first date with this guy would have been his cat's funeral. Luckily, I had the common sense not to take it that far. I'd matched with a guy and we began to hitting it off. So I gave him my cell number. And of course, he became increasingly strange. He was telling me about his cat and how he was worried about her because she was very ill. I understand having a sick pet is sad. Then he began to tell me about their relationship and how she was always there for him. Yep, I'm also close to my animals. That's fine. But then he began discussing how he doesn't know what to do if his cat dies, how he might hurt himself unless I would be willing to take his cat's place. No? After that, I stopped talking to him. He then started messaging me furiously. He told me how his cat died and he needs me to talk him through this. I expressed my condolences and tried to shake him off. He then proceeds to explain how we should meet at his cat's funeral. I don't respond. I didn't intend on becoming a skinsu anytime soon. His last text to me was an angry ramble describing in graphic detail how it was to eat. He consumed his cat. That was gruesome. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have stories of your own, feel free to leave a comment down below so I can make a video on them in the future. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.